Now, let us understand the Maslow's need hierarchy theory of motivation. Okay, to begin with, see, motivation is a very complex process which I explained you, right? So, there has been many researches being done on that. Many researchers have studied about motivation from several dimensions and developed some theories. There are a lot many theories if you go and search on motivation. But then it is Abraham Maslow's need hierarchy theory of motivation which is considered to be the most fundamental theory of motivation. Okay. Now, as I just told you, who was Abraham Maslow? See, he was a well-known psychologist, and in the year 1943, he published this theory through a classic paper. So, in a classic paper, we got to know about his theory of motivation, and people came to know what exactly this theory is all about. Now, remember, his theory was based on human needs. So, the reason it is considered to be fundamental, the reason it is considered to be important, because it helped us to identify the human needs, and then people or the organization learned how to satisfy that through motivation. Now let's quickly understand what this theory was all about. As you can see, this is a figure out here. See, this is all about Maslow's theory of motivation. So this is a triangle wherein you can see there are certain needs. The first need is your basic physiological need. What is that? When you're hungry, when you're thirsty. So that would be your basic physiological need. So hunger would be an individual's example. When I go to organization, what would be my basic physiological need? That would be basic salary. Remember, this is something without which you really cannot survive. So even when you're in an organization without salary, would you be interested in working? No, right? Then comes the safety security need, right? See, the feeling of being safe, the feeling of being secure is the next need which the human wants to satisfy. So when it comes to individual example, the stability of income, because money is something which is very important nowadays. It has the purchasing power. So if you do not have the stability of income, what will happen? You will feel restless because you will not feel secure, because you know that if I don't have the money, then I will not be able to satisfy my physiological needs. When it comes to organization, a pension plan, a job security, okay, these are all what we are looking at. Then comes the affiliation or belongingness need. Now I gave you that college example. Initially when you went in, you didn't feel like you belong to this place, but then you developed the liking for the college. So once you develop that liking, that means you started getting that feeling that yes, you belong here. Similarly, when it comes to organization, people always look out for a cordial work environment where they are accepted and they are appreciated. That is, having cordial relation with the colleagues is important. When it comes to personal needs, if I'm talking about affiliation, belongingness, then friendship would be one example. Even being loved by parents would come under affiliation and belongingness, right? Then comes the esteem needs. See, in terms of esteem, it is the status in the society. So if I'm looking out from individual perspective, he would like to develop a status in the society. He would like to have a certain kind of recognition. You must have seen lot many people get this membership of certain clubs like Lions Club. Okay, so what is the reason? Because it gives them that status in the society that yes, they are of some importance and they have certain kind of work which they have done in the past. That is the reason they have been given such respect. Now when it comes to organization, it would be the job title, that is being at the level wherein people respect and recognize that individual. Now once esteem needs are over, then comes the self actualization needs. This is the highest need, okay, that is the reason it is at the top of the pyramid. Okay, when it comes to individual, this would be self fulfillment, that is whatever goals you have, self fulfillment of those goals. Okay, similarly in organization, achievement of the organizational goal, achievement of the goals would be the highest self-actualization needs. See, in terms of employee, it would be the goals he has when he joined the job. Achievement of those goals would be self-actualization needs. Now remember, in a Maslow's theory of motivation, he believed in case for some reason, if everything is satisfied, let's say you have the safety security needs being satisfied, but if your basic physiological need is not satisfied, then it would not be correct. You would not be interested in moving up, rather you would be busy satisfying that need. Similarly, what he said, that the first need, that is the basic physiological need, has to be satisfied. In case if it is not satisfied, you will not be able to move upward. So let's say my need for hunger, thirst, whatever, water, that is my need for food, water is satisfied. So then only I will move towards safety and security needs. Now let's say if safety and security needs, that is the stability of income, job security is there for me, then I will move to the next level. Okay, so it will never happen that once my basic physiological needs are satisfied, I will directly jump to this. It has to go in a order. And remember, once the level which is not satisfied, people get entangled in that. They keep on searching for those satisfaction of those requirements, those needs, and hence they do not move upward. Okay, now let's see what were the assumptions of this particular theory. The first assumption was that people's behavior is based on their needs. So what Maslow thought, that the way the people are behaving, it is purely on the basis of the needs which they have. Satisfaction of such needs would influence their behavior. For example, you will be very restless in case if your need for food is not satisfied, right? So that is what he meant to say with this assumption. The second assumption is people's needs are in hierarchical order, okay, starting from basic needs to higher level needs, which I explained you earlier. What he said was that the pyramid which we saw earlier, right, this pyramid which we saw here, it has to go in this manner. It cannot go in this manner, and I cannot jump from physiological needs to belongingness needs. So that was an important assumption which he had made. Okay, now the next one is a satisfied need can no longer motivate a person. Only the next higher level need can motivate him. Now let's see, if you have been receiving your food, water, basic needs are being satisfied on a daily basis. So would anything motivate you to go in and get additional food? Not really, because you're satisfied. So then you will start looking out for the next higher level, and only that next higher level will motivate you to work in a particular manner. So in terms of organization, what happens here is that once I am secured, I know I have the job security. So only the next level of having that recognition, that would motivate me. Okay, something else will not really motivate me to perform well. Now remember, a person moves to the next level of hierarchy only when the lower need is satisfied, which I already explained you. Now quickly let's understand the financial and non-financial incentives which are given in an organization. See, when I'm talking about financial incentives, it could be pay and allowances. So you have your salary, then you have certain allowances, that like your travel allowance, your education allowance. So these are all various allowances which are being given to an employee in terms of monetary measures. Then you have productivity linked wage incentives. That means if a worker is able to produce more than the targeted units, let's say if the units to be produced are 100, if he is able to produce more than 100 units or manufacture more than 100 units, he would be given incentives. So that is one kind of financial incentives which workers get. Then comes your bonus, that is based on the performance which you had done or how the way you have worked in the organization in entire year, you get a bonus over and above your salary. Then comes profit sharing, that means giving a certain percentage of profit of the company to the employee. We understood ESOPs earlier. I gave you this example of ESOP. So that means giving the shares of the company, giving a part of the profit to the company, to the employee. Then comes your co-partnership stock option. So this is like, one thing is profit sharing would be giving a certain percentage of profit in terms of money. Okay, when I speak about ESOPs, this could be one way of profit sharing, or it could come under stock options. Stock options is the shares are being given to you, you can sell it in the market at a later date, or you can sell back to the company at a certain price. So it would be really cheap. You will receive it in a very cheap manner, that is at a very reduced price, and when you go and sell it, you will earn a profit on that. So this is co-partnership, wherein you are being made a part of the company. As a shareholder, you are being made a part of the company. Retirement benefits, for example, PF linked schemes, or contributions to NPS, which is the National Pension Scheme. So all this would come under retirement benefits. Then comes your perquisites. So there are various perquisites, like the lunch is free. Generally you get Sodexo coupons. Many of you would be aware, your parents would be getting those Sodexo coupons, wherein they can buy anything from outside using those coupons, or they can have their lunch. So that is all perquisites which we get. In terms of non-financial incentives, an organization can provide a status to the employee, or it could give him an organizational climate. Fine. There could be career advancement opportunities. Then there could be job enrichment, that is ensuring the job of the employee is such that he can keep on learning new things in his particular job. Employee recognition programs, as I just told you, sending a mail which is marked to the entire team and immediate manager, saying that this person has performed really well, providing different kind of rewards, awards and annual functions, so that the employee is praised in front of the entire company. Job security, that is, he knows that yes, his job would not be, he would not be removed from the job, he would not be laid off. So that job security is also a non-financial incentive for an employee. Then comes employee participation, that is when his suggestions, his method of doing work is accepted in the organization, and he has been given that autonomy that he can do the work as he wants, but only the goals need to be achieved. Then comes employee empowerment. Again, that is nothing but wherein the empowerment or the power is being given to the employee, so that he can make the decisions at his level, subject to certain restrictions, but then that gives him the autonomy to work. Okay, so these are the financial and non-financial incentives which an organization can use to motivate employees.